Hey Erin, how are you?
Peachy keen. How about yourself?
I love your scarf.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
I mostly peachy keen. I actually have a cold right now, so I'm doing that like old singer's trick of keeping your neck nice and cozy and warm. Um,
Are you a singer then?
well, I in a past life, I've been many lives I have led up to this point, but yes.
Sounds like something we should chat about in a future episode.
I think we might, because I happen to know that you might also have a past life as a singer yourself.
No.
So people might be wondering, and a question we get asked of like, how do we know so much about each other's past lives? You seem to know each other awfully well for coworkers. So we thought we might address that in this bonus episode of Ask Erin, Dear Beth.
Yeah, so we have to travel all the way back in time to 2007. Erin and I have known each other for a really long time. But Erin and I actually went to grad school together.
That is true. And although like I don't know, time is not my strongest sense. The fact that 2007 was when we started grad school, like that doesn't actually seem possible.
And yet.
And yet, and yet,
Yeah. And Erin and I were in the same graduate program, which was really small and friendly, but also became very close friends and became very good. I don't know how to say this without sort of just lots of curse words, but we would meet at Starbucks a lot for venting about exactly what we were not enjoying about our labs at the moment.
yeah, there were a lot of hey friend, Starbucks, 10 minutes question mark. Because what we were in, so we were in the same program at UC San Francisco. We did end up in different buildings. So my building that I worked in was just across the street from the building that Beth worked in. Same campus, very close by, but it turns out there was the Starbucks was like basically equidistant in between our two buildings. So there was a lot of like, OMG, I'm really stressed. Like, please come let me vent over
Mhm.
coffee. There was a lot of that.
Yeah. Wonder if the fact that now we sort of have this advice column together is based on this, like, let me give you advice and vent about our lab lives and how we both actually, or at least I felt like I got a lot of value out of just being able to talk through some of my problems with somebody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, I can't overstate how important it was for getting through hard times in personal life and hard times in science life. Just like having a friend that can say like, "Hey, like walk away from your experiments right now. I need a coffee buddy." And no questions, either of us would quite happily drop whatever
Yeah.
we were doing in the
Oh
lab
yeah.
and walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in fact, that was such a strong bond that being even sort of post grad school life, post COVID life, Erin was still one of the people in who I bitched to a lot in my life about how my life was so stressful. But it turns out that that was actually how Erin and I started working together, was basically me having a stress freak out.
Okay, so you and I tell this story slightly different way. My version of it is, so we were on a Zoom with a group of friends from our grad school class that we have stayed in quite close contact with, and it was just sort of a like, hey, we haven't talked in a long time. Let's catch up. And my version of this story is that I had just sold so after grad school, I left science and I had just sold the business that running, one of the businesses I was running, and was sort of having I don't know what to do with myself. I am like clearly not happy being a business person. But I don't know. I need something to do. I'm looking for the next thing. I have some ideas, but I want something to just like keep me busy during the day so I feel like I've got a thing to do while I figure out what is the next version of my life gonna look like. And so Beth was in that same Zoom saying, guys, I'm a little stressed out. I mean, that was my version of it. Beth saying,
Mhm.
I'm a little stressed out because there were the postdocs on in your team had, the way academia works, completely unpredictably found jobs all at the same moment. And so Beth was left doing more work than one person should be doing. Had new people ready to go, but academia being what it is, it was going to take a while for visas, and the new people weren't slated to start for several months. And so I was like, "Hey, Beth, I've got an idea. I'm free. Like, I'm looking for a thing to do. You're looking for somebody to help you do the things that you're doing. What, maybe I could work for you for a few months."
Which I was immediately like, yes, I would love that. Especially Erin and I had sort of forced her into using CellProfiler in graduate school, because I tried to force everybody I went to graduate school into using CellProfiler. So she was like, I have this, and then, I can help you write some documentation because Erin is the queen of documentation and I'm terrible at it, for your new people to start. So you can just dump your brain into my brain and I will write it all down, which to me sounded like the best possible universe. Um, so I pitched it to my boss at the time, Ann Carpenter. And she was like, "So wait a minute. You're telling me you want to hire your best friend and she doesn't even live in the same city as we do? And you think this is a good idea?" Yeah, no, this is going to be great. Like, well, okay, I trust you. If it's a temp thing for a few months, like if that's what you need, like do what you need to get things moving. Because I was trying to do the jobs of four people simultaneously, and I wasn't being four people.
I mean, Beth is amazing, to be clear. She can do many people's jobs, but four was a little bit much.
Thank you. And Erin joined as a 3-month temp 6 years ago.
And here I am.
Mhm. Because
Turns out I failed to be a temp,
Mhm,
because as soon as, it worked really well. And I will say, going into it, we did have the conversation very clearly up front of like, okay, we both think this is going to be good, but if it's not, our friendship is the priority. We will walk away, like no
mhm,
hard feelings. Because um, I have some experience of working with my husband, and he runs a business, and that was maybe not as good for our relationship to be working together. And so I was very prepared to be like, okay, that might not work. I mean, sometimes it doesn't work to work with a person that you love and care about because so we had that conversation, but it turns out we
mhm.
work really well together. It was
Yeah.
an amazing discovery.
Yeah, working with your best friend can either go incredibly well or incredibly badly, and we are happily in the case where it has worked incredibly well.
Yes, absolutely. We have many complementary approaches to things, I mean, lots of the same skill sets, which is nice because we speak very much the same language, but then also, lots of ways that we complement each other. For example, I love documentation and Beth does not. So
Much better at it than I used to
that
be.
is true. That is true. You are so much better.
I've had a good example to follow. I've had somebody who can teach me the value of good documentation.
Yeah, yeah. But like, that's my happy place. It's never going to be your happy place. You can do it, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so right here we are, 6 years
Mhm.
later,
Mhm.
working together,
Yeah.
and
And,
it's
and
great.
I will insert one thing that the second that Erin started working here, Anne was like, "Oh yeah, no, I totally get this. This is great. Like we need to find her a permanent project to stay because everyone who meets Erin immediately feels like their life would be improved by more Erin."
Aw, that's very sweet. Um, I do feel very lucky. I mean, so I've been fully remote this whole time. The lab is clearly in Cambridge, the greater Boston area. Been informed that I can't just call it Boston. I'm a West Coaster, like
Mhm.
always. So, yeah. So I live on an island outside of Seattle, and again, an unusual setup to have somebody be fully remote in a position where nobody else is for 6 years. But again, like we make
Mhm.
it work, and it's been pretty delightful.
Yeah. And one of the great things about making this podcast is to spend more time together.
Yes, we do continually come up with excuses. We have regular work things that we must do together, but then also find
Mhm.
excuses to have work things that we get to do together because it's a lot of fun.
Mhm. Yeah.
Should we end with maybe showing off a couple? I was able to pull up some, oh, here we go. Like, this was the farthest back photo I could find of just me and Beth. So, this was at a friend's wedding in 2010, which it turns out is a long time ago.
Mhm. I'm pretty sure you made that outfit. Do I recall correctly? I know you
I
made that
did.
outfit.
Yes, I did. I did make that outfit.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, that was I did a lot of sewing at the time, sewed most of my own clothing. And that was, yeah, that was one example. This is my thesis defense.
Yay. That was
Yay. I
such a
did it.
happy, sad day.
Yeah.
Happy
Um,
for you, sad for me because you were leaving, but
yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
you
So that
did
was
amazing.
2014 with Beth by my side, helping to celebrate another dress that I made. And then, this is Auntie Beth in 2016 with my kiddo. Um, and yeah, another important and really special thing about getting to stay so close to a friend for so long. My daughter, who is not this size anymore, loves, even now at 9 years old, loves sneaking down when I'm in work meetings and seeing if Auntie Beth is on the screen during any Zoom work meeting so that she can wave. Because, yeah.
Auntie Beth loves seeing her, so
Yeah. Well, that is the brief history of the Erin and Beth behind Ask Erin and Dear Beth.
yeah. As brief as you and I ever tell stories,
Oh,
which neither of
yes.
us ever tell
No,
brief
no,
stories.
neither of us are actually capable of short stories, but that's the shortest it gets, I think.
Love seeing you as always, Erin.
You too, hun. We'll talk to
Bye.
you later.